This is The Brief on an introduction to Wayne Rooney. We're tracking his wild journey from a teenage street striker prodigy to a Manchester United and England legend, and his recent, definitely rockier transition into management and punditry. First, let's look at the legendary player. So what really makes a complete footballer? Well, Rooney was as industrious as a sled dog, but possessed absolutely world-class technique, cemented by unforgettable moments like that Premier League debut goal against Arsenal at just 16 and that iconic overhead kick against Manchester City. He became Manchester United's all-time top scorer with 253 goals and was England's record scorer with 53, proving his immense versatility as a forward who could seamlessly drop into midfield. Second, we hit a managerial reality check. Why does a genius on the pitch suddenly look kind of lost in the dugout? We often just assume legendary players naturally make great managers, but critics point to his lack of a tactical plan B as a real critical flaw. This led to brutal struggles at Derby County and DC United. He was even sacked by Birmingham City after literally just 15 games before mutually parting ways with Plymouth Argyle in December 2024. Finally, following those touchline setbacks, Rooney's made a media pivot. He recently bagged a TV punditry contract with the UK's iconic football show Match of the Day, running right through the 2026 World Cup. But despite this broadcast success, he's still actively hunting for the right opportunity to return to coaching. So while his managerial career hasn't quite matched his playing days yet, Wayne Rooney's legacy as one of football's most complete and electrifying talents is permanently secure.
When you picture a classic English center forward from, say, 20 years ago, it's a very specific archetype for you to imagine, right? Like a big, physical target man just planted in the penalty box.
Oh, yeah. Completely rigid role. You knew exactly what they were going to do, and, well, so did the defenders marking them.
Right. But looking through the stack of tactical analyses and player profiles we are doing a deep dive on today, you hit Wayne Rooney's debut, and that entire mold just shatters.
It really does.
We are basically unpacking how this one player set the blueprint for the modern forward. And the weird paradox for you to think about is he did it by combining two traits that really shouldn't belong together.
Yeah, it's this crazy clash of styles. You see it immediately in his top 10 career moments. Like, take that 30-yard winner against David Seaman when he was just 16.
Oh, unbelievable strike.
Or, the Champions League hat-trick on his debut for Manchester United against Fenerbahce. It's just explosive, almost violent power.
Like that legendary overhead kick against Manchester City in 2011, right? To pull that off in a derby requires, an insane amount of brute force. It is like watching a street fighter who somehow has a chess grandmaster's vision. He had the physical aggression to just bully center backs off the ball, but also the spatial awareness to see a passing lane, 3 moves before it opened.
And that exact spatial awareness, well, that's the bridge from his highlight reel goals to his actual tactical genius.
Because the brute force wasn't just for show.
Right, exactly. Because he understood space so well, he became this tactical chameleon. Like when Cristiano Ronaldo started becoming the primary weapon for United, Rooney deliberately shifted out to the wing.
Which is a huge sacrifice for a star striker.
Massive. But he didn't just stand there. He used his physical engine to aggressively press fullbacks at very specific angles.
Yeah, dragging them completely out of position.
Exactly, dragging defenders away and creating the exact physical pockets of space Ronaldo needed to cut inside and score.
Wait, hang on. Let me push back on that a bit. Did constantly sacrificing his preferred position actually hurt his ultimate goal-scoring legacy?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Because, if he hadn't played second fiddle to Ronaldo, or later dropped deep to play as a false nine where he's literally vacating the penalty area to confuse center backs, did he rob himself of higher individual heights?
Absolutely yes. If Rooney had selfishly demanded to stay as a traditional number 9 his whole career, we would probably be talking about him rivaling Alan Shearer's all-time Premier League goal record.
Wow, you really think so?
Yeah, for sure. He sacrificed statistical immortality to be the structural glue for Sir Alex Ferguson's United.
Yeah.
When he finally got a season as a lone striker in a 4-3-3, he scored 26 league goals.
That's incredible.
Right. But he was just as willing to surrender that glory if the team needed, say, a playmaker in midfield instead.
So he essentially traded a few extra golden boots to become the ultimate team engine.
Exactly.
And looking at the forwards you and I watched today, they are all basically trying to be Wayne Rooney.
Oh, 100%. He was executing the modern elite striker role a full decade before it became mandatory. Today, if you want to play up top for a top-tier club, you can't just wait in the box.
You have to be everywhere.
Yeah, you have to trigger the high press, you have to drop deep into the midfield to link up play, and you still have to score 20 goals a season.
Right. It's exhausting just thinking about it.
It is. And Rooney was the original blueprint for that all-action attacker.
Which explains why he is still the only player in Premier League history with over 200 goals and over 100 assists.
That stat is just mind-blowing.
It really is. And by the time Louis van Gaal took over as manager, Rooney was essentially operating as a deep-lying playmaker, right?
Yeah, using that same Grandmaster vision from his youth to dictate the tempo of the entire match from the midfield. He evolved from a raw teenager relying on instinct into a meticulous orchestrator.
All while maintaining that relentless work rate. So from a record 253 goals for Manchester United to totally redefining what a forward could be, his legacy is massive for you to take in. But there was this one detail from our sources that I just can't stop thinking about.
Oh, about Mick Clegg.
Yes, the former United fitness coach. He pointed out that young Rooney hated the gym, like he didn't want to lift weights at all.
Yeah, he despised the rigid sports science side of the game.
He relied entirely on raw street football instinct and just wanted the ball at his feet. Which leaves you with a fascinating what if to ponder as we wrap up this deep dive.
It really does.
If Rooney had emerged today, right into our hyper-optimized era of strict diets, sleep trackers, and rigid fitness regimens, would his prime have lasted a decade longer? Or would forcing him into that clinical, optimized structure have completely extinguished the unpredictable street fighter fire that made him a genius in the first place?
If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please consider subscribing to Decision 45. Your support means the world to us and helps us keep creating high-quality content just like this. Don't forget to hit that like button, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe so you never miss an update.